Let's talk about Asa Hutchinson.
All right. Never before has Asa Hutchinson been so teased as we have in this show for the big announcement. He is former Arkansas governor, is in fact running for president, seeking the Republican primary nomination. Let's put this up on the screen. The New York Times had an interview with him. They say Asa Hutchinson announces presidential bid. The former governor of Arkansas, prominent Trump critic within the Republican Party, has been testing the waters in Iowa. Now, to give you a sense of Asa Hutchinson, he's kind of like politically, I would put him in like the Mike Pence lane. Very socially conservative, certainly like led the charge after Sandy Hook in partnership with the NRA to make sure that absolutely no gun legislation passed. Was involved in passing a complete abortion ban within his state when he served as governor. So this is a very, like, certainly conservative, right, hard right figure in terms of his politics. But in terms of critiquing Trump, he's been one of the more vocal folks out there. And unlike, DeSantis or Nikki Haley or whoever who take occasionally these little passive-aggressive jabs at Trump, Asa Hutchinson is not afraid to make a full-throated case against Trump and some of the actions that he's taken. He's really the first kind of explicitly anti-Trump figure to enter the race here. Larry Hogan took a pass. Liz Cheney so far has not, stepped up to jump in here. So he is the one who's the most vocal in terms of his critique of Trump. He says that Mr. Trump and those who supported his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election should not have positions of power. He stood against the RNC's censure of former Representative Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger of Illinois for serving as the only two Republicans on the House committee investigating the January 6th attacks. He called Trump's election denial a, quote, recipe for disaster for the party. And he was one of the few Republicans to issue a statement after Trump's reported indictment last week that did not dismiss the charges as political. So he thinks there's a lane for someone to be, hard right on the issues, but explicitly anti-Trump and sort of like, in the resistance vein in terms of his Trump critique. And so he is stepping into that race to fill that void.
The thing is about Hutchinson is that, as you said, he is socially conservative in some ways. At the same time, actually become a villain on the right because he vetoed a bill banning so-called gender
I forgot about that.
So he's actually a little bit more of a libertarian. I would describe him as like a libertarian, traditional three-legged stool conservative, like a fiscally conservative, socially conservative in the old way, but not necessarily in the new way, and then also anti-Trump, more of a Reagan-esque. I mean, look, does his candidacy matter? Maybe. I mean, it'll be a fun test of somebody, it will be a fun test of the ceiling on the Liz Cheney vote inside of the GOP. Second, you can guarantee, as he was on Meet the Press and he was all over the Washington press corps with his announcement. But in terms of his reception amongst the GOP base and others, there has just been very limited bounce from any of this. He's the former governor of Arkansas. B, Sarah Sanders is actually a vocal critic of him, and many others are inside of Arkansas. So the extent to which he would have any real political constituency is basically non-existent. Now, I don't even know if they've done any polls which include his name.
I was trying to find it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, so
I don't see any.
In terms of the people who have name ID and who are anti-Trump, Pompeo usually rates at like 3%. Mike Pence is always the highest. He's at 7%. And he is it's a very consistent 7, almost across every GOP poll that we look at. Nikki Haley is between 1% and 2%. Ramaswamy does not even come to 1%. And so Asa Hutchinson, we'll see. For those of you who are watching Succession, he's like a Connor Roy type figure.
I am not, so I have no idea what that means. But I'm just looking at these polls. I'm looking at Real Clear Politics, and they've got their tracker of where everybody is and taking all the different polls into account and averaging them. Somebody has certainly pulled his name, but he's not listed among the polls that they have here. And to give you a sense of the potential support, Liz Cheney is at 2% in the average of polls here. So taking the explicit anti-Trump lane you know, I mean, politically, he's basically like everybody else in the field, more or less, but probably actually worse than Trump on the politics because he probably supports cutting Social Security and Medicare,
absolutely
though I don't
does.
know that for sure.
He absolutely will.
Okay, so anyway, that's why I put him kind of in
Yeah.
the Mike Pence lane in terms of his actual political ideology. But I think the fact that Liz Cheney is at 2% in these polls when her whole brand at this point is basically being anti-Trump shows you how much appetite there is for this type of politics in the Republican primary electorate at this point. Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.